California, 1985. The air was warm. The suburbs were quiet. Families locked their doors, turned off their lights, and believed they were safe. But somewhere in the darkness, a man was walking. Not running, not hiding. Walking calmly through neighborhoods, looking for his next victim. He didn't care about age. He didn't care about location. He didn't care who you were. The media would give him a name that would freeze an entire state. The Night Stalker. Tonight, we uncover the terrifying story of Richard Ramirez, the man who brought fear into the bedrooms of California and changed true crime history forever. Before we begin, if you're drawn to real investigative stories like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, let's step into the darkness. The making of a monster. Richard Ramirez was born on February 29, 1960, in El Paso, Texas. On the outside, he was just another boy from a working-class Mexican-American family. But inside that home, violence was normal. His father was abusive. Beatings were common. Fear was constant. But the most dangerous influence in Richard's life wasn't his father. It was his cousin. Miguel Mike Ramirez, a Vietnam War veteran, returned home deeply disturbed by what he had seen overseas. He shared graphic stories of torture and killing with young Richard. He even showed him photographs. Violence became entertainment. At just 13 years old, Richard witnessed his cousin shoot his own wife in the face during an argument. Imagine that moment. The sound, the blood, the silence afterward. That trauma didn't shock him into fear. It fascinated him. By his teenage years, Richard was using drugs heavily, especially LSD. He became isolated, angry, obsessed with Satanism, obsessed with control. Eventually, he moved to California. No one could have predicted what would follow. The first killings. June 1984. An elderly woman named Jenny Vincao was found brutally murdered in her apartment in Glassell Park, Los Angeles. She had been stabbed repeatedly. Her throat was nearly slashed through. There was no clear motive, no connection, just random violence. But this was only the beginning. Over the next year, residents across Los Angeles and San Francisco began waking up to something worse than burglary. They woke up to death. Richard didn't have a type. Elderly women, married couples, children, single women. He would break in at night through unlocked windows or doors. He carried a gun, a knife, sometimes a tire iron. He shot some victims. He stabbed others. He beat many with whatever he could find. He sexually assaulted women in front of their husbands. He forced victims to swear allegiance to Satan. He would leave behind symbols, pentagrams drawn in blood. The randomness made it worse. There was no pattern. Anyone could be next. California in fear. By 1985, the attacks intensified. The media finally connected the crimes. Newspapers gave him a name. The Night Stalker. Fear spread like wildfire across California. Gun sales skyrocketed. People installed floodlights. Neighbors formed patrol groups. Hardware stores ran out of locks. Parents wouldn't let children sleep alone. Every creak in the night became a threat. One of the most horrifying crimes occurred in March 1985. Vincent and Maxine Zazera were attacked in their home. Vincent was shot. Maxine was mutilated in a way so brutal that investigators were shaken to their core. Detectives struggled. Different weapons, different neighborhoods, no consistent victim profile. But then, a breakthrough. At one crime scene, investigators found a partial shoe print from a rare obvious sneaker. That single clue would become critical. Escalation and satanic panic. As the body count rose, Ramirez became bolder. In one attack, he told a victim, "Swear to Satan." He truly believed in what he was doing. During the 1980s, America was already gripped by what became known as the Satanic Panic. Claims of cult rituals and devil worship filled headlines. Ramirez played directly into that fear. He carved pentagrams into victims' flesh. He left occult messages. But this wasn't about religion. It was about power. He chose random homes, random people. He controlled who lived. He controlled who died. And for over a year, he got away with it. The turning point. August 1985. Police finally released his name and photo to the public. That was the beginning of the end. Ramirez had traveled to Arizona during this time, unaware that his face was now on every television screen in California. When he returned to Los Angeles, everything changed. He stepped off a bus and immediately noticed something strange. People were staring. A group of elderly women began whispering. Then someone shouted, "That's him! El Matador!" Panic hit him. He tried to flee, but the community did something remarkable. Strangers chased him. They didn't run away. They ran toward him. He attempted to carjack a vehicle, but failed. Residents beat him down in the street until police arrived. On August 31st, 1985, Richard Ramirez was captured by ordinary citizens. After a year of terror, it ended not with a police chase, but with community justice. The trial began in 1988. It became a media circus. Women showed up to court claiming they loved him. Some even wrote him letters in blood. He would raise a pentagram drawn on his palm and shout, "Hail Satan!" He showed no remorse. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. Ballistics, fingerprints, the obvious shoe print, survivor testimonies. In 1989, Richard Ramirez was convicted of 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. He was sentenced to death. He reportedly smiled when the verdict was read. He spent the rest of his life on death row at San Quentin State Prison. In 2013, he died from complications related to cancer. He was 53 years old. The aftermath. The Night Stalker left more than victims. He left psychological scars across an entire state. His crimes changed how Californians viewed safety. Doors were locked, windows secured, neighborhood awareness increased. But perhaps the most disturbing truth is this. He had no master plan, no complex criminal genius. He relied on unlocked doors, darkness, random opportunity. He was chaos in human form. And that randomness is what made him so terrifying. Closing reflection. Richard Ramirez wasn't just a serial killer. He was a symbol of fear during a time when America felt vulnerable. His story reminds us that evil doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes it walks quietly through a neighborhood at night, testing door handles. And sometimes, the only thing that stops it is a community that refuses to stay silent. If you found this story gripping and informative, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep investigative true crime stories. Because history remembers the monsters, but we tell the stories of the victims.